All right, guys, we're live.
Oh, we're rolling?
All right. Yeah, we like to do a running start here.
Gotcha.
So yeah, thanks for guys tuning in. I think this 9, 8 or 9.
I think now this might be officially 8.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Cool.
officially.
All right,
Liberty
here
List
we go.
podcast.
Yeah, here we go. So we have Mitch Aguiar, Smashin Frog. Man, you've got a hell of a story. Like we usually like to start at the beginning, like a little pre-buds, because everybody already knows like there's so many training stories about buds, but oftentimes like to frame what you're doing now, it's good to get a sense of like what you were doing before the military and like what drove you to like why the SEAL teams, why not Marines, or why the military at all?
Yeah. I had no intentions of joining the military at all growing up. My mom and dad were both in the Navy, and my dad more so always kind of encouraged me like, oh, you should check out the military, check out the military. I just was not interested. And he was actually a combat cameraman with the SEAL teams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
But I didn't even know what a SEAL was when I joined. Like I knew he did something. He was like a military soldier guy, whatever. I had no interest, and I know he scuba dived and skydived and stuff like that, or jumped out of planes.
As
not
a combat
skydived.
cameraman?
Yeah, he didn't.
Dang.
Yeah, he didn't
that's style.
skydive,
That's
but
cool.
he did. He had his jump wings, like
Static.
he static line, like filming guys, and yeah, so like I knew he did stuff like that, and he took me shooting and stuff like that growing up, but I just had no interest in it. I had no interest in really like authority, school, none of that, you know.
Yeah, you got to walk your own path.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like kind of always like more of a free spirit and stuff, but I always was interested in making money, like
Mhm.
even as a little kid, I remember first like pushing taking a lawnmower and just going into like neighborhoods that were like townhouses and just going up like, and hey, can I cut your grass 5 yards or $5 for the front, $10 for the back? And I was in 5th grade, like pushing a lawnmower door to
Yeah.
door, and like people were like, yeah.
Was it a manual one? You had to like
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
that's why you got so buff.
With the blades, the blades that spin.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did have one of those, like, but I didn't like charge. That was just the one that we cut ours with. But when I lived with my dad when I was in 5th grade, and he had like a push mower like that, and I went door to door doing that, and I would make like almost $100 a day.
Nice. Yeah,
Cutting grass.
the manual ones are tough, dude. Like there's no engine. You have to just like
Dude,
momentum
if
it
it
through.
gets a
put-
little too
put-
long, you're like push back
Yeah.
up, push back up.
It's
Yeah,
like-
no,
it's like when-
I didn't do that. That I had like an actual like lawnmower,
Oh,
a gas
okay.
powered
I
lawnmower
was thinking it's
that I
like
pushed.
It's like Conan when he.
But I
gets
did
buff
have
on the,
that
on the wheel
that one you're talking about with the wheels that
Yeah.
are fixed to
I
blades
have one in the
that
garage.
spiral.
Yeah. it's
Yeah,
like
dude,
from the
they're dope.
60s.
Yeah, they're
It's
sweet
classic.
if you only have a little bit of grass to
Yeah.
cut.
You get a
Yeah.
good workout too.
Yeah, but no, that was like I did that and just pushed it like door to door in those neighborhoods, and I would make like $100 a day. Like
Nice. As
in
a
5th
fifth
grade,
grader?
yeah.
Bro, that's awesome.
Dude, 5th
And-
grade's balling.
That's
with
ball.
that,
That's
though.
balling
Are you-
money.
Bro, it was crazy because like we would play basketball every day, like outside of my house with my friends and stuff. And whenever the ice cream truck came, I was like there's 10 of us playing playing basketball, and I'm like, guys, get whatever you want. It's
Ice
like
cream's on me,
$1,
boys.
you got like the popsicles with the gumball eyes
He's like
and
Biggie
stuff.
Smalls going back to the ghetto
I
after
swear.
making it big.
I swear, like I felt like such like the fucking man, you know.
Yeah, dude.
Just and that really like I think is what made me want to like make money and like be kind of like I didn't even know what a philanthropist was back then, but I kind of was like a little mini philanthropist, you
Dude,
know.
life's more fun when you have money. I've been
Oh,
poor.
It
I grew up
is.
poor. Being
Dude,
poor
you see
sucks
these
ass.
kids like that don't have any access to money or whatever. Maybe they get an allowance or something like that, and like an ice cream truck comes around, and you're like, oh man, I want ice cream, but it's $1, you know, and don't even sweat it. Get
I
what
got
you want.
boo.
I got like and like they're like, oh, thank you so much, you know, and everyone's happy eating ice cream,
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, I just got to make that happen, and
Yeah.
like.
it's a
That's
cool
such a
experience.
And it-
psychological change.
And it was like, that's not even 1 yard worth of work to cut. So it was like literally like that's what kind of like jump started, I think, my want or desire to to kind of do that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what transitioned from that on the entrepreneurship journey into buds?
So yeah, so that's kind of like why I was always just interested in like making money. So I always had jobs, you know, like
you got suckered
in
into
high
the SEAL
school
teams.
I had three jobs. I worked as a roofer on the weekends and like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then my parents had my mom and stepdad owned like this little deli gas station type thing, and I worked for them with that. And then I also worked at Kalahari as a lifeguard in the largest indoor water park, and I was like a surf instructor on the
Nice.
flow rider and stuff.
Nice.
And so like those were my jobs. Like I was always just interested in making money, and I had no interest in school whatsoever because I thought it was just a complete waste of time. And
You were making more money than your teachers. Then.
exactly, like I'm like, you guys are broke. Like and yeah, I had no interest in going to college at all, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. But like the military, that just didn't sound fun at all, you know.
Mhm.
And so I just didn't know what I wanted to do at the time because I was also living in Ohio when I graduated, and I knew I definitely didn't want to be there
Yeah.
because there's not a lot going on, and I was from the beach area, you know, so yeah, I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do, kind of bored, and the recruiter just caught me at the right time, you know, right place, right time,
Mhm.
and
It's a common theme that we're seeing. here.
yeah, and he was just like, "Hey, you want to join the Navy?" And I was like, you know, I'm like, why not? Like, at least I'll get out of here and like go maybe see the world. I knew that like, you know, you traveled all over the world. I knew my dad had like been all over the world and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll you know, why not? Whatever. And he's like, well, you look like you're in good shape. You want to be a SEAL? And I'm like, I don't know.
Sure.
What's that? I think there's like the sneaky guys, right? Or something. You know?
What year was this?
This was in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah. And because I'd seen the commercial with the clouds, you know, over the moon and the
Oh,
beach,
yeah.
and then the footsteps,
footsteps.
whatever.
Oh,
That was literally
that is a savage commercial.
That's
yeah.
good.
That was the only thing I knew about SEALs. Like, even though my dad was a comic cameraman, because like I said, anytime he tried to talk to me about the military, I'm like, not interested, you know. But yeah. So, but my mom was like with me when that recruiter was there, and she was like, yeah, they're like the rock stars of the military. Like, if I saw you in the military, like I would see you being a SEAL. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right, whatever,
Guess it's
Sure.
for me.
sign
Yeah.
me up. And yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'll be a SEAL, whatever.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, my the what do you call it? The SEAL like mentor, what do they call them?
I think it's mentors, yeah. Or maybe it's the motivator. It's
Dive
a dive
motivator or
yeah.
something. Whatever. The SEAL mentor motivator guy was a guy named Mike Noss, and he's a plank owner at Dam Neck,
Oh, that's
old
cool.
Vietnam dude, and just a badass. And he's like 6 something, like 6'3", and like walks with like a pretty big limp from like bad hip, and but he still swims like a fish. And he was just a just a badass dude.
Yeah,
and
it's a good representation.
yeah, and I met him at the pool because like I had to do the PST the next day, and I'd never done like combat side stroke or anything
Oh,
like
wow,
that.
yeah.
And
But you're already a decent swimmer, though. Or you'd swam before.
I mean, I'd swam, you know,
Okay.
as a lifeguard and stuff, but I'd never done any kind of competing or competition swimming or anything like that. And I'd never run further than like a mile in my life, you know. So yeah. So anyway, like he taught me how to do the combat side stroke. I did the PST the next day and passed the PST, got the contract, and
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Buds.
And
And
you're on your way.
my dad's like, do you even know what the hell Buds is? And I'm like, no. And
Don't worry about it. It's
yeah.
fine.
And he got the 234 documentary videos.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched that. Well, back up. Before I even did any of that, the first thing I did was go get the movie Navy SEALs.
With Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen.
Still the most accurate portrayal of a team guy
I
ever.
mean, for
You
sure.
can't beat Charlie Sheen, bro.
So I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna be like an assassin, I guess, you know. And I don't know if you remember, but there's a scene where he's like taking the chick around training, and he's like, "This is buds. 90% of them won't make it." Blah blah. And they're like army crawling like in like the woods, and like there's like grenades going off and a helicopter flying by, and they're spy rigging. And it's just like so ridiculous.
I wish it was that cool.
And it's not even like anywhere. They're like in the woods.
They're in Georgia.
Yeah, and it's like what? And and they're like doing CQC and shit.
Yeah, with the kill house with the rubber tires. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh damn, I gotta go to Bud's. So I remember I literally went and bought like cami pants and some boots, like, and I ran like a mile and was like, I remember running down my street in Ohio, and I was just like, after I just watched Charlie Sheen's Navy SEALs, and I was just like, God, getting ready for Bud's, you know,
playing the Rocky theme in the background.
Yeah. And
That's
there was some pull-up bar or monkey bars in my trailer park that I was doing pull-ups on. And
oh, nice, dude.
yeah. So
is this thing?
No, you're good.
Is it all right? Cool.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's good then.
Yeah. No, you sound good.
And just suck down the microphone more.
There you go.
but
So then, how did the documentary 234 kind of impact the rest of it? So you saw the Hollywood's, I don't even know what kind of version you want to call it, Hollywood's 1990s version, or was it even 80s? That's probably like 87 or 88.
Navy SEALs? I don't know. I think
but
it was
then
90s.
234 is a very proper representation of what you were about to go through.
I mean, it's the best representation of
the time.
what, you know. It's still like so sugar coated because, you know, it's a 6-hour documentary on a 6-month school that they spend, you know, the majority of on Hell Week, you know.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, still a much better idea of like reality, you know. And so when I watched that, I was like, oh shit, like that looks like it sucks. And I remember like one of the things that instantly kind of stood out to me was the 4-mile timed run in boots and pants on the beach. And I was just like, dude, I've never run 4 miles ever. Like, who the fuck does that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember there's like cross country kids in my school, but they were like nerds and skinny. And I was a football player, you know, it's like we're sprinters. And yeah, so I was just like, and I remember in the documentary, everyone failed. And
oh, really?
Yeah, they all failed.
All failed to run?
Mm-hmm.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
What is like the 1 mile
30
pace you have to keep?
It was 32 minutes.
Well, I think
So
first
standard.
First phase is
8 minutes.
32.
I think it's 30 for second phase. I think it's 28 for third phase.
I'm not
So-
sure if they like fucked with them or what for the documentary or something,
If
but
everybody fails, something's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it was like the first guy got like 32:08. And
Yeah, there's no
so
way.
they were like everybody failed.
Unless the only time I've seen everybody fail is when they're doing it during Hell Week.
Yeah.
And then of course you're gonna fail.
Well,
that.
what year would what class was it?
They came through, I think, the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s.
Was it?
What
Yeah.
class were you? 4, 6?
219.
Oh, you were 219.
Yeah,
Oh, you're old.
19. I moisturized those, dude. Yeah, that was
Oh, fuck,
1998.
I literally meant to moisturize this morning because my face is fried right now. We just did like a Bud style beatdown with some influencers in Fort Lauderdale, like 2 days
Yeah,
ago,
so-
and
yeah.
fucking fried.
You've been all
Right.
around the country, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, 3 days ago, and then LA.
L.A. yesterday. Yeah.
That's a lot,
San
And
Diego
then
today.
San Diego today, and then going back up to L.A. tonight,
man.
and going up like 4 hours north in California the next day to work out with Brad Dunn of Reliant Fitness. Shout out Brad Dunn.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you know him, right?
No, I
Yeah.
just on Instagram.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He's super cool, nice, super nice guy. Very, humble, very cool.
Dude, I've met so many cool people from Instagram. I know a lot of it's cool to hate social media now, but like I love it, dude, because I feel like I don't give out my phone number to a lot of people
Hmm.
because it's too close and I don't like random calls. But
You like my FaceTimes?
I miss your FaceTimes. We used to FaceTime each other all
I
the time.
was the first, like I remember like this shit like almost 10 years ago or
Yeah.
something. Like, but I I had talked to Ryan for something about my business, and I was like, let's just FaceTime. I'll show you. And like we FaceTimed, and he was like, and like we were just sitting there, like I showed him what I was showing him, and then we were just talking, and he was like, this feels kind of gay. But he's like, I've never FaceTimed with a man before. And I'm like, it's not gay, dude. And he's like, I kind of like it, though. Like, and then we started FaceTiming ever since.
Yeah, it worked out great, man. I love FaceTiming now. But, dude, social media has been fantastic, man. Like, I love it because you can be, like, arm's length with people, so you can have conversations without – you can get to know a lot of people and keep them arm's length from, like, your real life. But also, too, now I use it, like, my friends, like, before I hit them up, I'll go check Instagram or social media and make sure, just make sure, like, their dog didn't die or something before I hit them up. Like, hey, bro, what are you doing? Just make sure, like, the timing is right.
How's life? Terrible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly that. But, dude, honestly, I think it's been a huge addition. But also, I do think that arm's length thing goes both ways. Like, you have to keep that whole thing at arm's length and not let it consume you. Because otherwise, it ends up not being a value add to your life. Like I think drinking is the same way. Like I personally enjoy drinking, because I think that I'm more fun. So when I drink, the more you drink, the better I look. Yeah. So it works out all around.
Well, to be fair, you're just like one of the most handsome men on earth. It's not even fair, right?
Especially at 47.
Right? Like.
Maybe that FaceTime did turn me gay, dude.
Even my chicks are like, oh man, look at Ryan. He's good looking. I'm like, shut up. But like, and when we were like, he was my SQT instructor, and like back then, like, even like the guys in the class were like, oh yeah, Ryan's like, he's like the most handsome man on earth.
Should remind my wife of that,
right? Keep that sass in check.
All of Nikki's friends said the same thing. Like, hey, who's that jacked hot seal that was at your wedding? I'm like, I can think of one.
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's Ryan.
I'm striving to be more like him.
You just gotta wear tight shirts, bro. It's my jam. Yeah. Just wear tight shirts.
This one's decently tight.
Cody,
speaking of social media, this is Cody Alford's brand. We Defy the Norm, and like he's blown up,
Yeah, he's doing well, man.
And I remember when he first got started and everything, and he had the little racks of T-shirts in his living room and shit like that, and I remember like I was like a couple years ahead of him, but like I had that same setup,
Yeah, I had it too. You gotta go through that process.
Yeah, and it was like, so I remember talking with him on social media and finding him and stuff, and like giving him some just like, hey, this is something that I did, blah, 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 whatever. But, always like getting his shirts and supporting his brand because he seems like super cool and authentic.
Dude, he is, man. He's super
I've never met
guy.
him in person.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, I mean, he looks like a big dude on Instagram, but in person, he's a really big dude.
Yeah.
He's thick. He's a thick boy, dude.
He went full Post Malone on his, too, and just got super inked up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Super inked up.
Yeah, his story is pretty wild, man. Nick's got a great story, too. It's episode 2, I think, we did with that.
Yeah, I was a little drunk on that one, so I got a little loose. But one of the things that I wanted to caveat off of is you were talking about social media, and I remember when I was first transitioning out the military, I moved from Fort Carson, Colorado, and then moved here to San Diego, and I was working 12 on, 12 off, doing executive protection, and like no friends, no means of even trying to find friends. I fucking was making $45,000 a year living in this city, trying to cut my teeth. So you're not going to go out, I couldn't meet anybody. Yeah. And so I started meeting people on social media, on Instagram, that were kind of co-located here, similar mindsets, some similar, some completely dissimilar backgrounds. But one of the things also when I got out is I wanted nothing to do with the military anymore.
Same.
Yeah. Because I knew that if I kept on living,
definitely got to go through that phase.
Yeah, if I lived back in the military, I wasn't going to make any friends here, and it wasn't going to help my progression. It wasn't going to help my career. It wasn't going to help me at all.
Yeah,
right?
You got to evolve.
You're the fucking Uncle Rico that's talking about the heyday.
Ugh.
And so I met my mentor off of Instagram. I met a lot of good friends, and then that kind of just compounded itself. And now we use it as a benchmark of like, all right, who follows you? Right? If so-and-so follows you now, all right, I'll give you a little bit more, right? And then, a conversation, and then you can kind of tell by either the level of vanity in their posts or their daily routines. And so you can kind of read into somebody in order to figure out if this is actually someone you want to give your time to, as opposed to your fucking phone number.
Hard to say though too, because it can be like a fucking, you know, just a highlight reel and that stuff. And like, dude, I do so much stuff. Like it used to be like my Instagram used to be like kind of a highlight reel, but like I would just anything I was doing I would share, you know. And so it was very authentic, but I was like always sharing all the cool stuff I did. Now, dude, I do a ton of cool stuff, and I barely post any of it.
I know. I post
because I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the same way now.
I'll do a story. I do a lot of stories, but
stories. More stories. But like a post, I'm like,
it's kind of rare.
I curate it.
Yeah.
I mean, even still now, because I'm in media, right, and arts and photography and all this stuff. So like, I'm very particular about how my grid looks, and I'm sitting on probably a million banger-ass photos that everyone else would post on a daily basis, but I'm like, it's not good enough. There's a little too much tactical in here. Maybe I got to show my diversity.
I don't think too much.
That's the artist in
it.
you.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't feel like it.
Honestly, I just post it on story, and if it looks good, I'm like, you know what, that looks good. Or I get a lot of comments on it.
Yeah.
Where like I just posted something the other day.
If
you
think it'll get a lot of engagement.
Well, no, it's not. It's not so much an engagement thing. It's more like if I find it's useful to people, you know. So I'll post something, and if I get a lot of DMs about it, or a lot of people ask questions about it, then I'll be like, hey, this is probably a perspective or an insight that people are finding useful. So I'll make it a post because apparently that is something useful. I just try to make it useful, man. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But I think too, my stuff is just highlight reel because nobody wants to hear all the fucking sob stories, you know, and we all go through it. But I think the highlight reel is one thing, but also too, everybody's so used to social media now that you can tell if somebody's like, hey, everything's great all the time. Nothing bad ever happens. I'm so awesome. I do nothing but win. Like, you know that's bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier to see through it now. And that's why I just post whatever the fuck it is. And
that's what I say all the time. Like, that which is most personal is often universal, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
that's
everybody's just going through the same shit.
Yeah, we all think we're on the only ones. Like the entrepreneurship path. If you don't talk to any other entrepreneurs, bro, you think you're crazy, you think you're psychotic, you think you're totally unbalanced. You're like, what the fuck? And then you talk to other entrepreneurs and you realize, oh, this is just how it goes.
Yeah.
It's just
and
the
it's
life.
just everything's relative. You
Yeah.
know? And you're just some are further ahead in their journeys than you are, or whatever. And you can't compare your chapter, 3 to someone's chapter 13.
So, side note to our listeners, you might be hearing F-16s, F-18s, F-22s, 35s, or helicopters in the background because we live in a very military city and right next to Naval Special Warfare, Miramar, and so on and so forth. So apologize if there's any noise of freedom in the background.
They're just spy rigging. Just buds going on.
It's temporary. Spy rigging. Do SEALs even spy rig?
I mean, probably not actually tactically.
At what?
It's like it was
spies and fries.
It's like a check in the box, but like
I've only spy rigged in training.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's fun, kind of.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty.
I thought it was fun.
You got to keep your nut on the inside.
There was guys that were bitching about it, and I'm like, dude, this is fucking
pretty
cool.
fun.
Like,
You got to
hanging from a fucking helicopter, flying over the city.
Yeah, I'm a Black Hawk Stingleberry.
It would be pretty. It would be pretty sketch if you had to do that in real life, though.
I mean, it makes perfect sense for the jungle. I had to do it quite a few times, but yeah, it was fun.
Getting shot at up there.
Can you imagine? Just lead them.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Yeah, there's a couple times we were doing that at an island, and I guess the helicopter crew is new, so they weren't quite high enough, and they started like dragging dudes over the ravines. It was not good. It was not good.
Yeah, and I was just gonna caveat off the social media thing, like, that like the guy you guys just met, Kyle, like he's my COO now of my company, and I was saying like he just started as one of my followers on Instagram. It was just like really like dedicated follower, if you want to call it that. Like just always on top of stuff. Plus, I was doing like my challenges with the fasting, with my greens and stuff, and he was always like encouraging other people doing it. And I'm like, oh man, this dude's like
I've
all
met
over
some
the
really
place.
really cool, really impactful people in my life from social media.
Yeah.
They're like actually legit friends now.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at him. He's ended up as one of my followers. Then I offered him a job, and now he has equity in my company. You know?
That's
and
huge.
like one of my best friends. And now he's started his own business. So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
So, speaking of your own business, when you were transitioning out of the Navy, what was that like for you? Right? And how long did you serve?
10 years.
10. And then you got out what year?
2018.
Oh shit, somewhat recently. And I just feel old thinking about
That's
that now.
almost over 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I was 11 years ago though, and that's what's even more weird. So what was that process like? Like you got out, were you were a West Coaster?
No, I was on East Coast.
East
I
Coaster.
probably should have been a West Coaster.
I think you're the first East Coast guy we've had on. Was Sean East Coast
I think Sean was out here.
out here?
Yeah. Mitch started as a West Coast mentality.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, I definitely probably would have been much happier in the SEAL teams.
I can
if
see you at
was
Team 5.
West Coast. I was originally supposed to go to Team 5.
See,
I
that
switched.
Fits. That
Yeah.
fits.
Yeah, I remember. I told my family, because I originally wanted to stay out here, on the West Coast, and I lived in IB, and I liked it here, and I was like, yeah, I got orders to Team 5, and my family's like, oh man, like we're really, hoping you'd go to the East Coast so that we could see you more. And
Yeah, like I'm gonna ever fucking see you guys anyways with training.
yeah, I
and
know, but
deployments.
like I'm from Virginia Beach, and
Oh, okay.
so yeah, so like they were kind of bummed out, and just I think they had come out here in the like 2 years I was out here. They visited once,
Mm.
so my family's pretty close. So I think, and no one in my family has like money, so like coming out here is
Yeah,
not.
it's hard to get around.
Yeah, it's not like you're on the other side of the country, and when you don't have money, traveling is not,
Yeah.
most ideal. And so I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just switch with someone, and I ended up coming to the East Coast.
Yeah. So you also went, I don't know how many people know this, but you're also a pro fighter. How many fights did you have in the UFC?
I didn't fight in the UFC.
Oh, but you're a pro fighter,
yeah,
though.
Yeah. I think total I've had like 18 fights or something
dang.
like that.
Yeah.
But
What got you into that? Were you training before, or what started that?
I was just always fighting growing up. And like tons of bar fights in the SEAL teams and stuff, and and then I came across someone. There was a fight league in Virginia Beach or Norfolk, and like a really like amazing, really one of the best in the country fight league, and someone had said like, yeah, you could fight amateur and like do a cage fight, and I was like, what? Like, because like I thought like the only fighting I'd ever seen was on TV in the UFC, so I'm like, oh, that's like, a whole thing.
Mhm.
And I didn't even like know like amateurs could do that, like I thought you had to like go be on a team and train for X amount of years or something,
Yeah.
kind of like football. Like I looked at like the NFL of fighting.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you, in order to get to the NFL, you got to like play high school forever and then college and then
Yeah.
go through some kind of whatever. I didn't know how it worked, and I wasn't really interested in pursuing it because I was in the SEAL teams.
Yeah.
So like someone had just mentioned like, yeah, no, anybody can sign up for like an amateur fight, and I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, like I can fight without going to jail? Hell yeah, like sign me up. So I had signed up, and I was like pumped, and it's so funny, dude. Most fighters, especially in the amateur realm, are just straight up pussies. Like,
Really?
they really are, dude. Like, they want like the title of like they want to be known like, yeah, I'm a cage fighter or MMA fighter, but they are only interested in taking fights that they are 100% absolutely sure that they can win.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that seems to be like carry on even into the pros, like. And you hear about guys padding their records and stuff like that, and like that's huge in
Just gaming
even
it.
in the pros,
Yeah.
because like the UFC, you got to think it's a business, so it's a marketing thing. So like if you have like if you're 15-0, then it's like, whoa, okay, you're marketable. Like, but if you take and you can beat 15 fucking cans that have no business being in there whatsoever,
Right.
they're basically paid to take an ass whooping. And it's like there are guys out there that will gladly like, hey, you give me $200, I'll go in there and fucking get punched and fall down and give up, and that happens, So
That's surprising. I didn't think there would be, because I've been in a decent amount of fights, but what scared me about going into the ring was not the fighting, but it's the lead up. right? So like the fight, I'm fine. Like instant fight, totally fine. It's the stress of like
That's how I am
the
too.
whatever, like the lead up.
Getting
That's
in
what
your
I was like.
head.
Oh my god.
I don't
yeah.
get in my
I don't wanna
head
deal with
about
that.
it. It like in the sense like it scares me. It's just been annoying ever since I started cage fighting. Like I'm the same way. Like I hate everything about it other than the fight itself. And like when I started fighting all the time, it was like as soon as I got done the fight, like boom, 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 okay, boom, everyone comes in the ring, takes pictures and all that, and then it's just instantly. So when's your next fight? So when's your next fight? Or like, or you match make an opponent right there, and it's like now I have to think about fighting this guy for the next 8 to 10 weeks or something, and I'm constantly being asked about it.
It's a lot of stress.
And
man.
there's a million ways that the fight could go. You never know.
Yeah.
So and that's why I was never one to like train for a specific fighter, because also people pull out of fights last minute and you got to switch them or whatever. So I always just trained to be the best fighter I could be. And I don't give a fuck how this guy fights. I'm going to go fight him. And but my strategy was like, people had asked me like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to go in there and punch him in the face as hard as I can.
That's my plan.
Yeah, that's my plan always, And in the meantime, like I train jujitsu, I train everything. So, you're supposed to be well-rounded. Like wherever the fight goes, who the fuck knows what's going to happen? Like I'm just going to try to kill the guy like as best I can, And that's like, it's not rocket science. Like, and I really think that was like an advantage of mine, was my mindset. Like I didn't get scared. I didn't like overthink shit. I didn't like. I'm just gonna go attack him, and just like you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna deal with it as it comes. I'm not gonna think about it too much.
That makes sense, man. Takes a lot of balls to go through that. I always shied away from that.
Yeah.
Too much of a pussy. I'm okay with street fighting, but I don't like planned fights.
I mean, if you think about like. It's the highest highs and the lowest lows, because there's nothing better than winning a fight.
That's true.
And like when you get to do it in front of a crowd of 5,000 people, like the stadiums that I was fighting in, like I was always the main event, and there's like tons of people in the crowd wearing my shirts and cheering me on and stuff. And I'm like a showman. I fucking like that shit, I like the spotlight. So I would go out there and just fucking smash dudes, and then like everyone's like erupting and cheering, and like I brought like violence and intensity to my fights. Like I'm not pussyfooting. I'm not trying to
like a Roman gladiator.
I'm not trying to
out
outpoint you. I'm trying to just demolish you as fast as I can.
Yeah,
like kill or be killed kind of thing, and that's just how I looked at it, and it was fun to me. Like it wasn't scary, and I think like that just set me apart from a lot of these guys. And I grew up fighting, like fist fighting, streets fighting, bar fights. So like, it was never, and then like in the SEAL team. So it's like, this is just a fucking sport, like I'm in a cage with gloves and a ref. Like I'm not going to die. Like nothing's going to happen. Like I'm not going to get knocked out, and you and your friends are going to stomp me for 10 minutes, behind a bar.
Yeah, it could happen.
Like it's fine.
it is the best case scenario.
So I'm like, what the fuck's there to be scared of? Like,
It's true, man.
I'm just going in there and having fun. And a lot of guys did not share that mentality, or maybe the fear of losing and like, I always said like, what's the worst that happens? I get knocked out and shit my pants. Like that's probably the worst case scenario.
Just like that one chick just fucking leaked everywhere in the octagon.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Justine
yeah.
Kish.
Yeah.
I know her. Trained with her.
So was there do you think...
but she had a good attitude about it. She literally hit up like it's like a diaper.
Depends sponsor.
Yeah, like she hit up like a diaper or some kind of anti-diarrhea or something, or some kind of like brand.
At a certain point, you just gotta own it, right?
Yeah, lean into it.
And she was like, serious. She's like, do you think they'll sponsor me? I'm like, maybe.
They got money.
Yeah, but anyway,
do you think that your background and pedigree in NSW kind of really helped kind of push your career in a capacity, or do you think that it potentially got in like an opponent's kind of like head, like fuck?
I think it definitely helped with, like things like, think about like before you ever knew a Navy SEAL, right? Like I I remember meeting like Mike Noss. He was the first Navy SEAL I ever met. But then but he was like an older guy, and retired and all this. So I knew he was at one time a badass. But like, I remember meeting Paul Tharp and like Chief Laviolette when I was at, like there, and there was some other guy I can't remember, but I remember there was like a couple SEALs that like were my first instructors at like Bud's Prep and shit, and I was the first class of Bud's Prep. So, and then like meeting my Dave Hansen and like, dude,
those are good examples, dude.
Yeah,
I'm good buddies with Dave Hansen.
I mean, dude, and that guy is and a lot of people know Dave Hansen was like one of the main SEALs in Active Valor.
Yeah,
he was my actual Buds instructor, and he like threw my ass into a truck one time and stuff, and was like, "Sit your ass down, Aguiar." And I was like,
with a toothpick in his mouth.
Yeah, always had a toothpick. And but so like meeting these guys, or even Ryan, like you're like, these dudes are fucking on another level of like human beings, and especially before you become that. You have this perception of them like they're larger than life or they're just different.
Yeah.
Like they are human, like, but we're not the same.
Well, you probably feel this too, because I know one of the things that drives me, as far as physicality, is that I'm pretty open about my background of being a SEAL, and I never want somebody to be like, "Oh, you were a SEAL?" And I've had that happen before. People say that, but I'm like, motherfucker, I'm 6'1", 230.
Oh,
like,
no.
What the fuck do you think a SEAL looks like?
Yeah, people
what
say
were
that
you
about
expecting?
Kelly Cooper, but they don't say.
No, I definitely agree with you. And like that was something that like you and I have talked about for years. Like you should look the part.
Yeah, you got to embody it.
You should.
Yeah.
Like you have a reputation, that larger than life reputation.
Yeah.
And if you look like a fucking fat slob or something like that, like, and you can't do a fucking pull up, like I remember I did that the Hudson Seal Swim.
Yeah.
We do that a couple times or once a year, and I've done it for 5 years in a row. But like as it started to grow, we had some SEALs come in that were just like, dude, you look like you've been on the couch drinking for years, and like I don't care if you went through Buds 20 years ago and you think you're fucking tough still.
No.
Or like you look like shit.
Do not stay away.
Don't
tell anybody you're a team
you're
guy.
a SEAL.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Because you look like shit.
That stuff personally pisses me off.
It does me too.
It
It
brings us
always
all
fucking
down.
has, man.
Yeah.
And it you see it in the SEAL teams with active duty SEALs.
Well, because like it's not hard to stay in like medium good shape. It's not that fucking hard.
Yeah, and so that was always something too. Like I felt like I look like when you picture like what a Navy SEAL is, like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not 6'1", but I'm 5'10", like 205.
You got big dick energy.
Jacked and shredded, and fucking tatted up. And,
a good representation.
Yeah, and I'm in their cage like being extremely violent and aggressive.
Yeah, killer
like,
fighter.
Okay,
like,
that's
dude,
that makes sense.
It's a good fit.
Yeah. So and that was like so like to your point, like I figured guys like my opponents probably looked at me like there's I know he's not just a normal fighter, he's also like a SEAL too. And
a little bit of mystique.
I guarantee one of the thoughts that went through their head is like, fuck, this dude's actually killed people.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a very different factor that we as service members, military personnel, kind of we've degraded it and devalued it, right? We desensitized ourselves to like whacking people, like because there was a time where it was sport, and so it doesn't mean the same thing to us. And then to civilians, it's everything, right? Like you're a fucking murderer, whether it was justified via the government or not. But now when you're in the ring looking at somebody, like as a civilian that you're looking at, like he's thinking like, fuck, this dude's actually killed people. Like, he doesn't give a fuck.
But, yeah, that's, like, two-sided because, like, I know personally, too, though, that being that doesn't mean shit when it comes to fighting.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. And,
big
like,
difference between a rifle and a fist.
So I know that, like, that doesn't mean shit. Like...
He doesn't know that, though.
But, and there's levels to everything, right? Like I just recently sparred Sean Strickland, which we could get into.
I saw that,
and,
yeah.
Well, I didn't really spar him. I just stood there like a pinata for 5 minutes. But like with my opponents, like on my level, right? Like because you fight people that are similar to your skill level or to some degree, you know. And but like with my fights previous, like I remember, you know, or if you look on YouTube and see my fights, like it's very like just full pace assault, you know. And I remember telling someone that asked me about nerves in the cage, like how do you deal with that? And I would say, you know, I would think what calmed me down or what made me like kind of whatever is like, I'm like, this guy that's standing across from me, he probably has looked up my YouTube videos and seen what's about to come his way. And like knowing that I'm a SEAL, knowing that like I look the way I do, and just knowing that I'm about to just unleash on him and he has to deal with that. I'm sure he's not thrilled. If I was someone else standing across the cage from me, I wouldn't be thrilled with what I'm gonna have to endure or deal with.
I wouldn't want to fight you, dude. That's one of the first things you learn, like, because when you don't have any fight training, you think you're a really good fighter, and then you get a little fight training, you're like, man, I suck. And then there's another wave where you start to learn a little bit, and then you roll or spar with somebody who's like a professional level.
Yeah.
Like it's a different world, dude. Like guys who are on a professional level, like I'm like not a good fighter. The only reason I win fights is I only fight people who are like worse than me, which is like, you know, drunk dudes in
or
bars.
more drunk.
You're more drunk than me, right?
He's got a beautiful padded record.
Yeah, and I don't win them all. The last fight I got in, dude, I got knocked out. I looked like Thanos, dude. My chin was so swollen up.
Yeah.
But I do think that where's it going with that?
Levels to fighting.
Yeah. So the next phase is like you fight people who are actually really good, and you realize, holy shit, it's completely
there are levels
different
to everything.
Yeah, but people don't understand. It's like when people are sitting on the couch watching an NFL game, and they're like, oh, these guys, I would have done this, I would have done that. But like when I was an instructor, they sent us to API, Athletes Performance Institute, out in Florida. And that's where they send the guys who are training for the combine. So if guys look good, but they're not signed yet,
right,
their sports agent will pay a lot of money to have them go to API for a couple weeks so that they can get better at the combine. So they get a higher pick rate or draft or whatever. And dude, these guys, I mean, I think I was like 215 at the time. And these guys are like 6'3", 260, and they're moving like, it looks inhuman the way they move in person. It looks normal on TV because you're around other people everybody is that good. But dude, you're seeing these guys in person, like how the fuck is this dude changing direction and moving at a single knee slice, and he's just changing direction at 260.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it looks normal. Same thing with fighting. Like you watch it on TV, like, oh, you should have seen that coming. You should have done this. I'm like, bro, you get in there and you do it. Like it's not like I have a small amount of fight training, and I training under Mike LeMay right now for Thai. And dude, I feel like a toddler in there. He's just like
just get rocked one time. And like so like you're talking about like seeing it on the sidelines, watching that. Like when you are getting impacted by like a fucking hard, even a hard jab that's or you know a cross or get a head kick and you're seeing stars now, or you get that little like
or
white flash, and now you're like disoriented a little bit, and your equilibrium's off, and your senses are a little like delayed, and now you gotta just dude that's like a shark smelling blood in front of you, and just and you can like as a fighter it's very like when there's such a discrepancy in level, I mean it's like you just toy with them, you know, and you just do what you want. Because you know that they can't see it coming. You know that you're just always a step ahead.
Yeah, but it's not something you realize until you go through that.
And it's like it just sucks, like because you feel like fuck. All right, well, I guess I'm just helpless.
Let's get this over quick.
You know, yeah. And like that was like with the Sean Strickland thing. You know, he had you know made like that comment about there's no fucking Navy SEAL that can survive training with me. That was because guys were constantly how it started. I think was like guys were constantly saying like, then people have that perception that Navy SEALs can just pinch your shoulders
right,
and you die.
kill you with a thumb or something.
Yeah, which is true in some cases. but
in PB,
like Sean and he's just super blunt and outspoken, and as the champion of the world in MMA at 185, which is arguably one of the toughest weight divisions.
Yeah,
powerful and fast.
He's just I'm sick of hearing people think that and think that they could fucking beat me.
Oh, dude.
When it's bro, and me as a fighter, when people would ask me that, I'm like, do you know what you're saying? Sean Strickland is the best in the world, and this dude spars Francis Ngannou and everyone, and he has. I've trained with him.
Isn't Francis 250?
265.
Oh God.
And I trained with Sean back in the day at Black House in Gardenia in L.A. And he was sparring 4 or 5 days a week back then, and he's been doing this for fucking the last 10 plus years, sparring 4 or 5 days a week with the best guys in the world, any weight class, doesn't care, and that's why I always respected Sean previous to this, because I knew his mentality. And I was like, that's a real fighter. And that's how you get really good at fighting is fight, practice fighting. And so I knew that was not a winnable fight, And when all that happened, I had already lost my Instagram, several times. And and I was and I hit Sean up. I was like, dude. I was like, let's fucking do this WWE. I'll call you out and stuff. And I was like, it'll go fucking viral. And
it did, because I heard all about it. I didn't know that you were on the receiving end of it, but I remember, getting Instagram updates or whatever that Sean is calling out SEALs.
Yeah, that was me.
Made all these comments.
Yeah, and I knew it would go viral, so I'm like, dude, let's fucking do this. And I was like, we'll call it we'll do it like WWE, blah blah. He was like, yeah, but I'm still gonna have to fight you. And I was like, whatever, dude, I don't care. And I didn't know how it was going to be because he, because we're cordial. We're not he's not actually mad at me, and everything. He literally cut weight for a fight at my house when he fought in UFC Norfolk, previous to all this. So and so I didn't know how it was going to be going into it and stuff. And we had first got hit up by high rollers to do a jiu-jitsu match. And they hit us up, and I was like, yeah, I'll do a fucking jiu-jitsu
you're all right,
match for sure.
Sounds way better.
Yeah, and Sean was like, fuck no, I'm not doing jiu-jitsu with you. And he's like, come do the man dance. And I was like, all right. So we went there, and he was like, we're going to do 5-minute rounds with big gloves.
Oh,
and I
that's
was
brutal.
like, oh, fuck, okay. And I'm like, all right. And we got videographers there. So I know he's not gonna I'm not even thinking I'm gonna win, but I'm not sure what it's gonna be like. And he's like, all right, let's do a warm up round. I'm like, all right, cool. And he just fucking rocked me with this first punch, and I was like, and he goes, it's gonna be a long day for you. And I was like, oh fuck. So
in the ring, you said that?
Yeah. So I knew. So I was like, and he's like, I'm gonna try to make you quit. I'm gonna make you quit. And that was his thing. He wanted a Navy SEAL to quit, and he's like, you're gonna ring the bell. You're gonna ring the bell.
Oh fuck no,
dude! I was like, I got 25 fucking minutes of to survive, but,
Yeah,
and
he did it though.
He teeped me, front kicked me in the chest and knocked the wind out of me, landed perfect and knocked the fucking wind out of me. And Sean's a big dude. People don't realize how big he is. He's a fucking big guy. He was walking around 230.
Cutting to 185.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of weight to cut.
That's so much. That's so bad for your health.
And he teeped me and knocked the wind out of me. It's 30 seconds into it, legit knocked the wind out of me. I was wincing, and he was like, no. And he just started kicking me and shit. He's like, you're gonna ring the bell. And I'm like, fuck, dude. And after that, I was like, I'm not even gonna try to fight
survive.
Back because what am I gonna do? I'm gonna try and fight back and tire myself out.
Just make him more mad.
And dude, when you're I always say, fatigue makes cowards of us all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're fatigued, you can't defend yourself. So I was like, I'm just gonna literally just try and defend myself as best I can. and try to survive the full 25 minutes because
Yeah.
his goal is to make me quit. My goal is to not quit.
Dude, and you did good. Anybody who talks shit about that just
There was
doesn't
tons of you
understand
said
fighting, dude.
I remember you messaged me. You were like, "Yeah, there's guys on 53-26 or whatever."
Oh, like
talking shit.
I would have done this. Like, bro,
Yeah.
no.
He represented our community like shit, and it's like,
shut the
bro,
fuck up, nerd.
Well,
any one of you, please, if you want to come to my gym and go 25 minutes with me,
yeah,
and see how you do.
open invite.
Yeah.
I promise
Yeah.
you, it'll look very similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about the opposite, right? What do you think, knowing Sean like you do, what do you think if you ran Sean through a proper sleep-deprived hell week in the winter?
We talked about that.
Yeah.
So we talked about that afterwards, like, and he was supposed to go through a day of like,
I'm here to document it.
like a couple hours, even like half a day.
No, you need sleep deprivation.
You don't even need that.
No.
You really don't.
Yeah.
Like half a day of Bud's type training, like that's what we talked about doing. And he said he would do it. And I said, like, get a couple guys from your fight team and we'll do another, like, videographer thing type shit. And
Probably good for the center too.
yeah, and
Really good.
Mhm.
and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he said
Brad
but he even said, he was like, oh, dude, I'm a pussy. I'll fucking quit for sure. And he's like, I don't fucking run. I don't do any of that stuff. Like, he's good at one thing, and that's fighting, you know?
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't fucking deal with the cold. I don't deal with none of
Dude,
that
you got to
shit.
stick with your strengths, man. Like, I can't handle.
But so, Sean,
yeah.
you fucking owe me a day of, you got to beat me up, and it went super viral, which I knew it would, which, again, I did it because I wanted to get more eyes on my page because I lost my fucking Instagram, and it, crushed my business. But
Thanks, Doc. Yeah.
and
Right.
yeah, and so I did that, and it went super viral for like 2 days. And I was like, oh, man, this is definitely like Joe Rogan. There's no way Joe Rogan's not going to like talk about this on his podcast or whatever.
Mhm.
But Joe Rogan was on vacation in Europe when that happened because Cameron Haynes told me that he was on vacation when it happened. And like 2 days after, Trump got shot.
Oh.
So
yeah.
that just
way.
like
Bad timing.
tidal wave. The
Tidal
fucking-
waved over top
It
of all
just
of
tidal. No one, Mitch and Strawn, who?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, fuck, I'm like sore as shit, from Sean just kicking
I
my
bet.
legs over and over and taking this beating. And, for 2 days of clout,
Oh,
basically,
man.
and I was like, God damn you, Trump.
Well, if,
Yeah.
if you can facilitate Sean coming out to the Buds compound, I know you guys know people as well, but I can help facilitate that pretty easy.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Brad Gary's the commander over there at Buds right now, and good friend of the C4 Foundation, which is a 501c3,
Yeah.
Based out of here, that I work for as well with my wife.
Cool.
And also got cameras, and I think it would be the shit if Sean actually ponied up to do it.
I think
Because
it'd
if
be
you
awesome.
pony up to step in the ring and you already,
Hey,
like,
I did.
hey, well,
I got
well,
my ass beat.
Right.
I
We'll
got
see
my
how this
ass
goes.
beat for the world to see.
Then it's
And
time.
Yeah, and I got all these fucking nerds online like, that guy's a SEAL?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, okay. Like,
Yeah.
and like that guy looks like he's never fought a day in his life. And I'm like, I didn't try to fight him. I just survived.
It's
I was
survival mode.
That's why I
And then
say, like, I was a pinata for 25 minutes.
And then we'll bring out AJ James for knife fighting with Sean.
Hey,
Oof.
I mean, I think it'd be fun, and I think
It
it'd
would be
cool.
fun, dude. I mean, I think it's good sport. It's
Yeah.
fun for both, and especially since Sean's a PR nightmare, I think
I think it'd be excellent PR.
it'd
for
be
him.
great PR for everybody, for NSW, for the community. Also to show that you guys are actually cordial and
Yeah,
friends and
Yeah.
stuff
Sure.
like that.
So
I think the Extreme Couture, like a couple of those guys on the Extreme Couture gym, like invite them out from Vegas. Oh, excuse me. That's where I did. That's where I went and did the beatdown.
Perfect. Well, if
Yeah.
you guys are in the comment section, tag them. Let's make this
Yeah,
happen.
let's do it, Sean.
So I want to hear about your company. I want to hear about your entrepreneurial move.
Yeah, so that was I was going to ask next is how did the fighting that you spent so much of your life doing tie into your businesses? Or
So,
what was the
yeah.
impetus like how did you tie all those things together?
So how that started was again, like just kind of always trying to think of how to make money,
Mhm.
With when I started fighting, I I had started an Instagram. Shout out Pat Tozzi from Green Devil
Oh
Garage.
yeah.
He's the one that, like, we were working together in CQC, and he encouraged me to start an Instagram because I was like, dude, Instagram's gay. I'm not trying to do that. And he was like, I know. He's like, but it's like good for business and like
He's got some great art too.
Yeah. He's an awesome metal worker and motorcycle builder. And he had a business, Green Devil Garage, and he was like, yeah, that's a way that you can kind of give back to like sponsors and stuff. And I was like, I don't have any sponsors. Because I really wanted to do a jiu-jitsu tournament. I was living paycheck to paycheck in the SEAL teams, and like jiu-jitsu tournaments was like $100, and I was like, don't.
Is that it?
Yeah, it was like $100 for a local tournament,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do it, and I was like, God damn it, it's $100, and that's like we were talking about it, and I was like, wait, would you sponsor me? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll sponsor you for your tournament, and I was like, all right, cool. So I made an Instagram and like, had like 4 followers, and like I went and did the tournament, won the tournament, and I wore like a Green Devil Garage shirt and like hat and stuff on the podium.
I think we printed those. That's good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then, and I was like, well, that was easy, And then I was like, well, I'm going to reach out to all the other people I know with businesses and see if they want to do that. And and I was fighting at the time, so then like I reached out to like 5 different business owners that I knew, or 6 different business owners I knew, and like I was like, hey, do you want to sponsor me for my next fight? And they were like, yeah, sure. And I was like, holy fuck, this is so easy. And I was like, okay, cool. But I was like, I can't wear all of their shirts. So I was like, I'll make a fight shirt and then I'll print their logo on the back of the same shirt. And I was like, that's what I'll do. So I ended up going and I met Bobby with Smashin Frog, or he had his originally he started this business called Smashin Frog, and it was like a t-shirt brand. And he's a old Blue Squadron dude, retired, and he had come to the fights and he had seen me fight, and he was like, "You're the Smashin Frog," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "That's like and he showed me like this business he had or whatever, and he's like, "But you're the Smashin Frog," and I was like, "Okay," and so then I became the Smashin Frog originally. And then he owned a t-shirt printing shop, so I told him like, yeah, can you make my shirts and I'll be the Smashin Frog, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I had like all these businesses, and I said like, okay, you guys give me $600 and I'll print your logo on 100 t-shirts, and 100 people will have your logo on the back of the shirt, and that's how I pitched it. So I had all these businesses giving me a bunch of money for that. And then I printed the shirts, and then I sold the shirts, and then I sold tickets to my fights. So like as an amateur, I was making like $5,000 a fight.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's great.
And I was like, this is fucking awesome. I'm like getting to fight and make money, like and I'm still in the SEAL teams, and so yeah. And then eventually Bobby wanted he was like, Smashin Frog's actually mine, and I was like, okay. So then I changed it because at that time like, I had already had Anderson Silva and like Rich Franklin, a bunch of dudes like wearing Smashin Frog shirts. And I was like, so I ended up changing it to Smashin Frog, and that's how I became Smashin Frog. And so then and I had a website because I remember it was weird, like locally a bunch of people were wearing my shirts at the fights and stuff, and friends and family were buying shirts to support and everything. And then at the time I had like 5,000 Instagram followers, which was crazy to me because, again, I thought Instagram was gay and like never messed with any of that, But then when I had like 5,000 followers, and I had people from like all over the country that followed me in different continents, and I'm
wild.
like, this is so weird,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking with my mom, and I was like, Mom, like when I hit 5,000 followers, like, I got 5,000 followers. This is crazy. She's like, I know. I'm like, I don't even know 5,000 people. Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then I remember people started hitting me up asking for shirts, and out of state. And I'm like, you don't even know me. You want to buy a shirt? And I didn't have a website or anything like that. And I'm like, okay, just send me like a $20 check and I'll
super old school.
Yeah, and I'll mail you out a shirt.
Yeah.
I did that for like 50 shirts.
No shit.
Yeah, like going to the post office and like handwriting like, okay, Bobby, whatever from Georgia here, and like, sending shirts like that. And it got to, I was like, okay, I got to do something. Like, I can't keep doing this. This is a lot of time. And then I set up like this bare bones basic website, and I remember buying a label printer, like a Dynamo label printer, and like on my website they filled out like their shipping info, and I could just hit print, and I thought it was like
game changer. Dude.
I'm basically Jeff Bezos. I made Amazon. Like, this is so time consuming.
Fuck books.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, wow. I'm just cooking with gas now. And that was like my original thing was just my fight shirts. And then I loved like seeing people wear them and stuff. And I was like, that's so cool. And I was like, but no one's going to wear like a big Smash. Remember my original Smashin Frog shirts? They had the big Smashin Frog on it. It said Smashin Frog. And I was like, no one's going to wear that like regularly, So I was like, and at the time I was saying mindset is everything, like I was like, trying to be motivational and stuff. And so I was like, I'll do like a motivational shirt, and I'll just put like mindset is everything on it. And I did it, and I printed like 30 of them, and I was like, we'll see how it goes, And I remember like I launched it at the time, and at the time I think I now had like 10, 15,000 followers, and they sold out like instantly. And I was like, whoa. Let me try that again. And I made like 60 shirts, and boom, sold out instantly. And I was like, oh shit. I'm like, this could be something, Because I'm like, I was selling them for $25 a shirt, and they only cost me $5 a shirt because I was ordering off S&S Activewear, getting them in bulk, and then going to a local print shop, and it was just one screen, one color, one side, $1 a print, So it cost me literally $5.50 to make a Mine Says Everything shirt and it was a tri-blend, next level.
Oh yeah, the 6010s.
Yep. Yeah, and so they're nice, comfy shirts or whatever. And the way I looked at it was like, if I sell one, I can give away 4, and like I break even still. So now I would sell one and I would give away 4. So now I had 5 people wearing my brand, and like, and I was like giving them to regular everyday people, and they're like, and I'm like, hey, just post it on your Instagram. And they're like, regular everyday people are not influencers, but they're pumped to get a fucking free T-shirt.
Yeah, they feel cool.
And they're like, yeah, I'll fucking post it.
Yeah.
I was just gonna post whatever today, and so that's what I did, and it just rapidly like grew. And then like I started to get more and more like of a following on social media, and then I could, I again like had access to like some bigger people that were posting it and sharing it and stuff. So it like pretty much grew rapidly. And I remember like I sold 150,000 in T-shirts my first year.
Dude, that's awesome.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's a great start. Holy
And that
cow.
was like when I had FaceTimed you, because I started in my spare bedroom. And it's so funny. I'll show you this real quick. It started in my spare bedroom, like just with some shelves, and I'll show you. I got it right here. This picture. Sorry.
Some naked pics on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly where
So
you got to start.
That was like the day I decided to do like massive as a business. So I'll show you if you can zoom in or whatever.
Text it to Ryan. We'll throw it up in the video.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Be good.
And and that was like as it expanded. Remember that?
Yeah, man. Dude, that's such the journey, dude. I remember Mike and I.
Yeah.
And this
Mike
is
and I had
like
the
what
exact same
Cody
setup.
Alford, like when I kind of like started like supporting him, like he was doing like this kind of shit in his living room. You know?
got to go through that phase, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I remember like I outgrew that and moved it into my master bedroom, and then I moved into my like guest bedroom, like my personal where I slept and stuff, and because my business now was in my master bedroom. And then that was when I FaceTimed you and I like showed you everything.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, dude, right on. And then like you and I started really bonding over like the entrepreneur side stuff. And because you had forged, like when I was going through training, you had forged.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you had forged, and then you just started Demon Bells.
Yeah, a kettlebell company.
Yep. And so yeah, we were talking about that, and you had Industry Threadwork still, and like you and I were talking about you making my shirts, but I was like, nah, it doesn't make sense.
You're getting such a good price on that.
Yeah,
we couldn't touch it.
I was like, I was doing all that shit myself, and I was doing all my own fulfillment and everything, and you were like, yeah, that's basically what I do for people, you know. What you're doing for yourself and you're doing like A to Z, I do that for other people. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And like I really understood your business then.
Yeah, I had the same conversation with Ryan back in the day when I was starting my apparel company in 2016 when I was at Blackwater. Designing all my own stuff, driving all the way down here to South Bay to pick up the blanks.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to do that or where to even start.
Because there's so many.
So if you can just come to them and just say, hey, yeah, you want T-shirts here? Here's some.
And also you outgrow yourself, right? Like you outgrow your guest room and then you went to your master. Once you outgrow your master, then where the fuck you can
garage.
Go?
Then I went to my garage.
Your garage. And then after your garage, then you go to Ryan.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's kind of how it works out.
Well, that's what I want to get to because Mitch and I never ended up working together, but you've done a phenomenal job of expanding on that. And I know as we're expanding, we have our own like challenges and there's scaling up and scaling down and commercial leases and employees.
I've always called you and like, you know, bounced ideas off you and stuff. And you know, and we've just kind of always just kind of given each other lessons learned almost.
Yeah.
You know?
I learned a lot from you too. Yeah. So can you walk the audience through like, okay, because I think everybody who builds a side business, if it's accelerating, is growing, they're going to reach that point where like, shit, I'm growing out of my spare room, my garage. What's next? So how did you handle that next challenge?
So, yeah, when I eventually went down to my garage, and then as I realized that I was going to outgrow that, then I looked at a local fulfillment center and moved everything into that. But then I realized how much of a impact that cost was, like where there's just so many things that you don't think about, like they charge you for every pick and pull, and like they were just nickel and diming me to fucking death.
A lot
and,
of 3PLs. That's
things I didn't like expect, you know. And it's like little things that, you know, I put thank you card, like a handwritten thank you card in every order, and then I would like sometimes throw in like a keychain or throw in like a little extra to make the customer experience nice, you know. And like, and I'll actually like, okay, look and make sure because it's my business. I care what the customer ordered, and like I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to get it wrong. And like you realize like these guys don't give a fuck. Like and they just like, oh yeah, what is it? Green shirt? Okay, whatever. Wrong size. Fucking, you know, there's no care or whatever in it. And then like I was also like very adamant about like if an order comes in, I want it going out that day. Like if it's before 3:00, I want it going out that day.
The give a fuck factor.
Because it can.
Yeah,
you know, it just takes effort. It just requires a little bit of fucking effort. And that goes so far because there is just so little of it. And as the bigger a business gets, the less and less it is.
Exactly.
It's like that's why like you deal with like an airline, you know, and it's just like you call anywhere, call Facebook, you can't, or Amazon, you can't get a hold of anybody, you know, and it's like these companies are just like almost too big to fail. I mean, because it's like, well, fuck this company. But I can't really go anywhere else because I gotta fucking get my stuff.
Dude,
you know?
That's such a common theme with 3PLs. It's actually part of the reason why we started our 3PL was because everybody has that experience, and 3PLs just don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And then when you have problems, you can't call anybody. You know, nobody cares. But we just onboarded a guy, Austin Alexander from the Battle Bunker. It's got YouTube, great dude.
Oh, did you? Sick.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. Oh yeah, you introduced me to him.
Yeah.
So he's onboarded now, but now like we're getting him dialed in. There's some things on his website that need some streamlining because it's not a direct like plug and play like it should be. But I mean, he's texting me, and I'm handling it personally with our warehouse manager, and we're getting it dialed in for him. But like, dude, if you're at like one of these big operations like Ship Bob or one of these other dudes, they don't give a single fuck about your stuff.
Dude. And I remember like this had like we had switched over to there, and I was like, okay, cool, it's kind of like less off my plate now. And I remember like going to Thailand. I went to Thailand for a month and trained, and then I went straight from there to New Zealand and like, and like, or like Fiji and then Zealand. And I was like gone, and then I got hit with a $90,000 bill.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's insane.
And I was just like, because the volume we were doing was crazy, and it was like, we had everything on our website from like a pen to, lanyards, stickers, like, and then like,
There's
so like,
no margins on a pen. It would
yeah.
creep you
So
out.
like people would go on there and order this and that, da 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 da. And I'm like, get this fucking crazy bill. And I'm like, what? I'm not making any money now.
Dude, that's nuts, man. Even when we were fulfilling for Jocko, like even his stuff was like not that high, and he's doing good volume. Their prices must have been crazy.
It was ridiculous.
Wow.
And they charge, and then like they did sneak shit too. Like, oh, well, we decided to put everything in plastic, and every
Without asking you.
yeah, and it's like, and then they charge me like for putting everything in plastic, and it's like, what the fuck, like. So I was like fucking pissed,
Yeah.
and our shipping times went down, like everything was just terrible,
Mhm.
and so then I was like, fuck this, and I had to like look, okay, I need to get a warehouse for this stuff and
Do it yourself, yeah.
Yeah, do it myself, and like look at the cost of that, like the rent and like the employees to fulfill and stuff, and it was like, yeah, that outweighs or it's better, the cost is there.
Yeah.
And so then I ended up getting a brick and mortar warehouse, and then ended up doing that, moving all
Yeah,
that
so
stuff.
was this your first employee or your first experience hiring employees for that?
So my first experience hiring employees was a nightmare. I mean, it's employees are definitely like the hardest part.
I think so too.
Yeah. And especially for me, because I started my business while I was still active duty in the SEAL teams, and then the SEAL teams and the real world are like
Often incompatible. Yes.
Mainly incompatible.
dealing like the level of like the way that we handle things and like get things done and are expected to get things done, and the standards that SEALs hold each other to, and like that's just the standard.
Yeah.
Like no one gives a fuck how you feel.
Like do it right.
Yeah.
It's
Do
got to
it.
be done. Yeah.
Cool.
Communication
And there's
breakthrough.
no
Yeah.
like
Mission
there's
first.
no like pat on the backs and
Yeah.
like attaboy, or hey, I just want you to know you're doing a great job.
No.
Like no,
Like-
it's your fucking job.
Yeah.
You're expected to
Congratulations,
do a
you
great
did
job.
completely
Yeah.
average.
Great. Super proud of you. Fucking get out of here. And do more.
Yeah.
And,
Totally.
I can't wait for people to hear this
Uh.
because I echo this every day, and my wife and everyone else that fucking I work with always tells me I'm an asshole.
yeah.
And I'm glad that this is a harmonious group here.
Dude, it's hard as fuck, man. Well, I mean, I said this on a podcast recently, and I didn't really think about it until I said it. But then Mitch and I were talking about this. I personally feel like entrepreneurship is harder than being a Navy SEAL. There's no safety net. Nobody's telling you what to do.
It's something I'm more proud of my business, like becoming like, my business is not doing great right at the moment, but that's,
There's
that's the
seasons,
waves of
yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
But like, there was one point in my business where I was doing $25,000 a day
Wow.
in sales, and self-made, like,
That's huge. yeah.
grinding and figuring things out as I go. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to school for business. Like, I literally have no fucking idea what I'm doing other than just trying my best, applying logic, and like trying things, seeing if they work. If they don't, adjust.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
You just get it done.
And having the courage to try, and like taking the risk of like rolling the dice and betting on myself, and like, and also being willing to work, like that classic saying, like an entrepreneur would rather work 80 hours for themselves than 40 for someone else.
Mhm.
And like, I don't care. It's like a lifestyle. Like you can call me at any time of the fucking day. I don't care. It's not a 9 to 5. I don't have
Yeah.
work hours. My life is work.
Yeah. I have no other hobbies or interests. This is
Yeah.
all I do.
But it's like I'm only interested in getting to that next level.
Right.
And then when I get there, I'm ready for the next level.
Exactly.
And you and I talked about this years ago, how like it's kind of like even like wealth or business, it's like going up a curved mountain or something. Like you can only see so far until you're here, and now you can see this far.
Yeah.
And you see like what's possible, and you're like, I realized that like I was just setting my limitations like too low. You know, I was like, oh, I want to make $1 million, and then it's like, no. Once I did that, now I'm like, okay, now I need to make 10. No, I should be thinking about 100 million, because as the further you get up and progress in business, you see that. And like you see, like I remember the first time I had $1 million, or before I had $1 million, I was like, dude, if I had $1 million, like life would be just nothing but luxury and this
Totally.
and that, and easy, never a problem. And then you get $1 million, and you're like, I'm broke. I'm still poor. What the fuck, you know? And then you see like real wealth, and you're like, oh, that's real wealth.
Well, it's the same thing as like fighting, like we talked about in the beginning, dude. There's levels to it, and oftentimes when you're the most ignorant is when you learn a little bit, and you think you're. I remember I had that experience, and like I sold a couple of companies, and I got my first Lambo, and I thought there was probably a good like 6 months where I was an insufferable douche, just because I thought I was so cool, and then I met people who had like real money because I had the car, and I was like, oh my God, I'm poor. I'm poor. I just didn't realize it.
Yeah. And it's like those people are quiet. You know, because it's also weird. Like they don't want you to know.
They don't want to know.
They don't want you to know that they have this kind of wealth, because money's this weird thing that we all need, right? And it's like people treat you differently when you have an abundance of this thing that we all need, because it's like, will you please bestow some of that on me?
They treat you like a resource or an out or something.
And it's like you can't tell who's real, who's fake, who's like just using you, and like. It's a weird thing, man. People. I always say like money is a test, and it'll expose who you are, and it'll like show you the real side of people.
Yeah, I think it's an amplifier, because if you have enough money, like you don't have to pretend a whole lot. So like you can be, if you're already an asshole, you're gonna be a mega asshole. If you're already like super benevolent and nice and giving, you're gonna be able to do more of that. Yeah, exactly.
And you don't have to answer to anybody. You realize like money truly is freedom. So anyone who says like, oh, money's not everything, shut the fuck up.
It solves a lot of problems,
stupid.
dude.
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're broke. That's what it says to me. You're broke.
Yeah, I never met anybody who made their own money who said money didn't matter.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. You're so stupid.
It's always the broke people like, oh, I could have done that, but I'm pious. I'm beyond that.
Well, I'd rather do this. Shut up. You don't have the option,
dude.
You don't have the option to get a private jet to go to Japan, go skiing if you want. Like that's fucking cool.
It's cool as fuck, dude.
And just like the thing that I loved about and I'll tell you, like honestly, I don't have the money that I used to have, but like I have it. My money's tied up in assets, which are not easy to like liquid and assets are different.
Yeah.
And having liquid money is fucking dope, and like it's kind of like the ice cream truck, like when I was a kid, I had liquid money, and like it was real easy to like here popsicles for you, no problem.
Fireworks in Bombay,
and but like when I had that kind of liquid money and like people that I love and care about close to me or whatever, a lot of people's problems are stress from money, financial stress. And it's like,
all of them.
Come into an issue like, oh my God, my car fucking just shit the bed or whatever. And like, I have to use that car to go to work, to trade my time, to get this thing. We all need money. And I only make this much of it. And I have to trade so much of my time to get this much. And I still have all my bills that I have to pay. So I'm going to have to save up for 9 months to deal with this one little thing. And it's so much stress.
So important.
You could just be like, here you go. And that stress is gone. And there's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like that was, I don't know how the fuck I was going to do it. And like, that was like so rewarding to me. And it was like, because I know that you have to trade your time so much and deal with so much bullshit and so much stress and get up early and go to work and do it. And like, I don't have to do that because like, I sacrificed and I grind and I took risks and all this stuff and it's paid off. And I have this thing now that's printing money like very effortlessly. I always tell people it's like kind of like farming, right? It's like planting the seed. Like first you have to do a lot of work. You have to tend to the soil,
Mm-hmm.
plant the seed, water it. There's nothing happening. And then eventually that thing grows and it's got fruit and it just bears more fruit than you don't have to do anything now. And it's just like, oh, cool, fruit. That's kind of like what a business is.
Yeah.
And like, so now I like realize like, okay, I'm in a position where money just kind of, I have money and it's way easier for me to get that $1,000 that you need for this bill that's stressing you the fuck out for me to just be like, here you go. I'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, the problem too is that if you do that too much for people,
For
then
sure.
There's
a balance.
We had a couple employees where, like one in particular, she was having problems and couldn't pay for her dog. Her dog needed some surgery.
Is this the one I know?
Maybe. I don't know.
She's boyfriend was a pilot.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Great boyfriend.
Great boyfriend.
Great boyfriend.
Rhymes with Sarah.
Yeah. But dude, so we paid for the surgery for her dog so that like he could live. I'm like, cool. And then we paid for her car to get fixed because she had all these issues, and we totally took care of her in a lot of ways. And dude, she ended up like fucking us, like trying to sue us for some bullshit later. I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck, dude? So it's hard to do that. Oh, I know we're running short on time, but I wanted to ask you, because this is something that I've struggled with too, is like coming out of SEAL teams, getting entrepreneurship, being frustrated with employees. I had to totally revamp my leadership style to
absolutely
work within the parameters. So how was that journey for you? Is like
so
through leadership?
And I was going into that, sorry, but right out of the SEAL teams, and now I'm dealing with a bunch of civilians that are nowhere fucking near that and have never kind of been held to that kind of standard. They don't respond well at all to criticism, which like when we fuck up in the SEAL teams, it's like publicly shamed, loud as fuck, and like everyone's gonna know that you fucked up, and it's to get that pressure of like, I never want that again.
It's good motivator to change.
I never want to fuck up like that again because I don't want to like have that ridicule and like shame and embarrassment and all that. So like I'm never gonna fuck up again like that. So it's like that's all we know, and that's all I knew for 10 years as like I went in right out of high school. So like my entire
you grew up in it.
My entire adult life is that's how I was led, and so that's how I lead. And I'm like, oh, they're like, we're like, we're not SEALs. And I'm like, oh, fuck, and like, again, looking the part, right? Like I'm this big, jacked, angry fucking SEAL. When you fuck something up and it costs me $5,000 because of your incompetence, because you don't like care enough to, where it's like, double check, like, take it serious. Like everything we do in the SEAL teams really fucking matters because your life is on the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all the lessons learned are written in blood. And it's like everything we do has literal life and death consequences. So you are just take it fucking serious, you know? Do not fuck up. And that's the level I expect them to like, do when you're putting an order in for something. And it's not the same thing,
Yeah, totally.
And it's just like, oh, I fucked up. And it's like, I can't even, like, I want to just beat the fuck out of you, but I can't.
Fucking HR.
I can't do that. And it's like, I want to just like beat your ass and like hit the surf and do all this stuff, but you can't. So it's like, and I can't even just take it out of your paycheck. What am I going to take it out of your paycheck for the next 4 years?
Right.
Like,
Dude,
no.
real.
And it's like, I'm just so irritated that like I just paid for you to fuck this up. Now I have to pay for you to fix it, and I'm having to do it all at the same time. So it's like, what are you even here for? You know? And it's super frustrating. And, so that was like, God damn it. How do I have to readjust everything and like, okay. And then like I had people, again, complaining like, oh, I think Mitch is mad at me, because I'm not telling them like,
right, they're
good
internalizing
job.
it.
They never tell me. He never tells me good job. It's like, no, I expect you to do your job. Your paycheck is your good job. And it's like,
put a smiley face on
exactly. It's like, if you were, and I always said like, imagine if you were just absolutely crushing at work, like just killing it and going above and beyond and all this stuff, and I just didn't pay you. You'd be pretty fucking pissed, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, the same is true. When you're doing a terrible job and I'm still having to fucking pay you, I'm pissed. I want you to do good. Like, and I expect you to do good.
Yeah.
You should do your
It's the
job.
expectations.
You know, like, and so that was like one thing. And then like I had like my employees were like afraid of me. They were afraid to talk to me because like
I got that a lot.
they're
Yeah,
like,
same.
well, you know, I'm like loud, like that's just, you know, you see how I am. Like
I'm just talking normal.
I'm enthusiatic.
I've said that
I'm a people person. Damn
I'm
it.
not raising my voice. I'm just stern.
Yeah, and like, but I am that way, and I'm like quite literally an MMA fighting Navy SEAL, you know, and I'm like walking around with my shirt off all the time,
Barrel-chested frog man.
yeah, and I'm just like, what? You fucked that up? And they're like, oh my God, please don't kill me, you know, and I'm like, I'm not gonna kill you, fuck.
But I'm very upset with you.
I'm just fucking mad.
I'm just
And
disappointed.
it's like, I quit. And I'm like, damn it, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's like, what are you gonna do? You know. And so I had to adjust, like seriously, because it was like, okay. And then I had like people that were very close to me, you know, that were almost like liaisons. Like, yeah, he's. I know he's scared. He's not like gonna find. And like, I have this one of my longest employees, Slim, who I have just like a special place in my heart for and everything. But he has fucked so much stuff up, and like, but super great person, you know, great heart, and like we go way back, and I'll always love Slim and have a special place in my heart for him. But like, you know, and he became like a little liaison to people, like, and he's like, listen,
Goes a long way, man.
yeah, and he's like, listen, like, just you don't have to be afraid of Mitch. He's not gonna like assault you, even though I have assaulted him. But that was like a funny story.
But that was different.
It was different. But yeah, that's a funny story I'll tell you about. And but he's like, you know, I've literally been like, Mitch, I just fucked this up. It's gonna cost $4,000 to fix, and I also need to borrow $1,500 for rent. He's like in the same sentence. You know, I'm like, God damn it, Slim, you fucking here's your $1,500, you fuck. And like, you know, but when I first started Massive, like he did graphic design work for me for like super reasonable and like cheap and everything, and that's what allowed me to kind of launch. You know, like when I didn't have a lot of money and stuff. So like he was with me from the very beginning, and like I don't forget where I come from. I don't forget when people do stuff for me. Like I'm very loyal. You know?
Loyalty counts for a lot.
Like when I blew up, you know, it was like, Slim, you're coming with me, you know, and even if you fuck stuff up, whatever. like try not to, goddammit. But he gets me, you know.
Yeah.
And so like he was like always kind of of the liaison now, and like Kyle, he's been with me for, you know, years now, and like and I always say like, you're my worst luck charm, because when he came on, that's when everything fucking went down. And like he's super Catholic and shit, so I call him like Job. Like, you know, I'm like, this is just Job shit, you know. And yeah, so but he like gets me and knows me well, and like, but he was like that too in the beginning, like, you know, he's not driven by like money as much, and like he's like, I want to know that like you're my friend, and like that we're doing this together. Like certain people, it's like love languages. Yeah. You know, and like certain people respond to certain different things, and like, and I was like, God damn it, Kyle, you're like my other girlfriend, you know. Like, but and like we always joke about that, but now he's like my liaison to where like I don't even want to talk to people. Like, talk with him and he'll talk to me.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, how did you solve that? Do you think that you change your leadership style, or you just change your employees and your culture to where it fits you better?
So culture is mandatory. Like, you have to set the culture, and like you have to set the standards that you want at your business, and culture is super important. And not just like, you have to get people that get the culture and will police the other people. Like, no, we don't do that here, or whatever. Like, it doesn't always have to come from me. And those people, finding the people that treat your business like it's their own is rare and hard, because those people will probably just go start their own businesses, right? Yeah. But like, you know, Kyle's like in a different situation where he's got 5 kids because he's Catholic. And so like he can't really like, and like he's also a different type. We have different strengths, right? Like we always say like
that's key.
We joke about like how he's a blue suit and I'm an orange suit. Remember the Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah.
So when we ordered those like legit, authentic Dumb and Dumber suits, because we were gonna go meet our new manufacturer, and that's how we showed up to the thing, because they were flying us in on a private jet.
No fucking way.
So we're like, oh, you're flying us in on a private jet? Well, shit.
All right.
Fancy. So we were like, well, There's only one way to show up. So we literally ordered these like authentic Dumb and Dumber suits, the orange and blue tuxedos, and we showed up like that. And
they're like, "What have we done?"
Red Lamborghini and everything.
No way,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's so sick,
and they were
dude.
like, "What the fuck? Like, are you guys serious?" When we showed up, so funny. And but when we got the suits, they came to Massive, and I had come in, and Kyle had already put one on, and he put on the orange suit, which is Jim Carrey's suit. The main character,
You're like, nope, that's
Jeff
mine.
Daniels and Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's like,
yeah.
he's the main guy in Dumb and Dumber. And I'm like, the fuck? You're not the orange suit. I'm the orange suit. So that's like kind of like we joke about like now he's the blue suit, I'm the orange suit. And like the orange suit is like, I'm the CEO, I'm the visionary and this and that. And like he's my like right hand man.
Dude,
like
that's so important.
He's
man.
like he's the guy that like executes on certain things like tasks and admin
Operations
stuff,
guy.
operations.
Yeah, and also the shield from
and like that's like his role, and it's like, and he's very good at his role. Like he doesn't need to be like the main character, and like he thrives in being that like support guy. Like give me direction, give me like this and that. And
Dude,
if like
perfect.
you put him in like, all right, you make the decision. Where he's like, I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
So it's like we always joke about that, like
It's
orange
perfect.
suit and blue suit. So like knowing your roles and like not being like needing to have that ego involved or whatever.
Yeah, there's a great book called Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman. Did you ever read that? It describes exactly what you're talking about. It's probably on audio, but it has a visionary and what they call an integrator, but it's more like an operations, like an operator. That's visionary and operator. But dude, once I realized that, it's like every solid company has that. Like even my company, as industry is I think going on 11 years now. As we've grown and expanded, and then contracted again and growing again, Disney and I's roles have changed. She was my first employee, then she was COO for years, and now she's been CEO for 3 years. And that's allowed me to step more into like the creative side, like the visionary side. And dude, it's been a huge, huge shift because now
your
she's
time's
empowered.
freed up.
Totally.
And like you're not focused on this like day-to-day task bullshit that like you don't need to be like.
Exactly.
And it takes away from your time of like getting, that's what got you to the dance in the first place was you having this vision and executing. Now you have help, you know, to do that. And now you can keep continuing to have new vision and new direction. And it's like your team's job to execute and bring to life that vision.
And she's so good at the operations side. Shit that I would
way
never,
more than you probably.
Dude,
it's like way more thorough, way more
dude,
like
she's
me, I'm
it.
like, dude, if I have to read a fucking paragraph, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you know, I don't have time for this.
Yeah, but so she's really good at the few things, but most of the things she's really good at are the things that I'm really bad at. And the few things that I'm good at are the things that she's not good at.
Right.
So between the two of us, we can bring a pretty solid package together.
For sure.
We can be effective in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But dude, it's so key to find somebody that's strong where you're weak. In fact, that was in our wedding vows. It was like, you're weak where I'm strong. But dude, marriage, I think, is the most important business partnership you'll ever make. But it is a business partnership, you know, same thing as like any business partnership. You got to find somebody who you have a certain amount of overlap and alignment where you can speak the same language and view things the same way. But also it's much more powerful if somebody's different than you in a complementary way. Yeah. And then you, as a couple, as a partnership, you guys can be strong in so many different areas.
Yeah.
Than if you just had an identical person. Like,
well, and that's another shout out to what we were talking about earlier is like, could you ever hire him? Like via fucking LinkedIn or anything like that,
no,
right? Like it took somebody that was dedicated to what you were doing well before you even knew it, that wanted to become an integral part of it, but didn't know where he fit in. But like you can't buy or hire devotion.
Yeah.
You know, like he found you.
And that's the thing is like he didn't even, when I offered him a job, he was a cop. You know, he was a cop for 10 years and stuff, and then
it's a hard job.
Yeah, and then I was like, you know, offering him a job, and he's like, dude, I don't know anything about what you do or whatever your industry or whatever this and that. And
like, I don't either. Let's go.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm like, yeah, but you know, you have like a great attitude and like hard work ethic. Like you can't teach that,
right?
And like, you know, we'll figure it out. Like I'll find something for you to do, but like you have that drive and you know you understand what I'm like the culture.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because you set the culture on social media.
Mm-hmm.
He was attracted to that,
Right.
and now he's a great fit for what you've built.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like when my business was kind of booming and stuff like that, and like I had 13 employees at the most at when I, at the peak or whatever. And like I would not hire anyone unless they followed me for a long time. Because I was, I'm a controversial person. I'm very outspoken. I'm very opinionated, and I'm not like, I'm not like politically correct.
And you
I
didn't
don't
know what
give
they're
a
getting
fuck.
into. Yeah.
And like, and like you said, like when you have money, you don't need to. Like I don't fucking care. And like money, it's like money is important, right? But when you have like a good amount of it, and like I came from nothing. Like I grew up in a single wide trailer with 5 people. No one in my family has money. So me having I have more money than I ever, thought, like, and anyone in my family, you know what I mean? So I'm good. Like I have enough. Like I'll be fine. Like I also like when my deployment in Afghanistan, I had no running water for a year, and slept on a fucking cot and, had nothing. Like no food, like MREs for a year. And I was perfectly fine. I was perfectly fine. So like that helped me not be like super materialistic. And like I don't really care. And like nothing truly like nothing really matters to me other than like having certain relationships with people I choose to and want to, and that I actually think are good people and care about. Like, and I like to be able to bestow like upon other people. Like I truly like want to be a philanthropist. And it's not for me. It's like I find joy in giving, other people's like and enabling their happiness, because I don't need anything. Like I like fucking, and that's it. Like that's truly it. I'm very simple.
That's already such good shape, dude. Good cardio.
It's true. Like that's all I like. And that's, it doesn't cost much, but
well, it depends.
But it's nice, yeah. But hey, I want to fuck on a private jet.
There you go.
And like experiences, that is something that I truly like. I think is way better than any kind of materialistic shit. Is
it's the meaning of life, I think.
Because I got to take my parents to Fiji. And like go to 10 days in Fiji, pay for their shit, like go to the best resorts there are, and just spoil the fuck out of them, and like. That was all possible because of money, and that's something that they'll remember forever, and like being able to give people these kinds of experiences that they would never be able to is so fucking cool to me. Like you can put a price on it. It costs what it costs. But like the cost and the value are different to me.
I totally agree, man. I think the meaning of life is very simple. It's just to enjoy it. And so I just want to have as many cool experiences as possible.
For sure.
But, living in a van down by the river is just one experience, know, but I want to take a jet to lunch in France or something, and that's super cool. That costs money.
Yeah. Dude, I remember the first time I again was making like some good money and stuff, and I chartered a jet. I chartered a jet down to Miami just to do it, just because, and it was just me.
Wow.
I was just by myself.
That's a lot of money. That's good.
I just did it by myself, just like as a milestone, like how you got the Lamborghini, like just as this is like for me, and it's like I could do this, and it's like a reward to yourself.
I think that's an important gateway.
It is,
to go through
because it's motivating.
Yeah.
And I remember like I fucking took this private jet down to Miami by myself, and I was and I was just like on the jet, and I was just by myself, just being like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I'm fucking the man, look, I'm just so proud of myself. Like I made this happen, and it's like so fucking cool.
Absolutely, man.
And it's like, oh, is that a waste of money? Sure, whatever. But it meant something to me, and like it was like a good motivator and like driver. Like, okay, you made this happen. You can keep making it happen. You just gotta fucking keep giving effort and like keep putting in,
touching
the
dream.
And it's like, like this is all right. Now I want to, just get to the next level, keep going.
So the last question that I have, and we need to close this out. So
I do still have to tell the assault story on my employee, but
you can take off. Do you both feel like there is a number, right? Like there's Elon, like Bezos money, and then
Can't
there's
even
like
imagine that.
guys that like us, where we've come from nothing, we've had nothing. I had fucking nothing. I was sleeping in my mom's bed till I was 13 in a 1-bedroom apartment, right? Like I get it. Is there kind of like a number, a baseline to where when you surpass that and you keep on chasing it, to where you become jaded and you start building fucking dildo rockets and now it's this big dick energy contest with the Saudis and so on and
I
so
would say
forth.
small dick energy contest.
No shit. But like I feel like there is a number, right? To where like enough is enough,
Yeah.
right? I have enough to be a
Yeah.
philanthropist. I have enough to give back to my friends. I have enough to buy my parents a new house.
I think
Depends what you want.
for me, I think 20 million. You know,
Yeah.
that's like my initial, and who knows, that might change. I'm not, like I said, I'm not super like I have to have the best and the best of everything. I'm not that way.
Right.
I really am not. I dress the exact fucking same as when I lived paycheck to paycheck. You know,
shoes are a little bit more expensive.
yeah, my shoes are a little
And
nicer.
the watch.
And
you
I
know?
got a deal on those, you know? So, like I wouldn't I still will never buy a Rolex.
Right.
Like I'm not a huge watch guy, but I do like a Rolex. Like I just like, for some reason I like the way they look, and I like that it is like a nice quality thing and people recognize it for what it is.
It's a history behind it too.
And
yeah.
I'm like, but it's just it just tells you the time. Like I can't spend $10,000 on a Rolex. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would much rather buy a $200 fake one.
Or 10 G's on a solo flight to Miami.
It's different.
And the watch guy would say the same thing.
It's
But I
different.
think
You can
it's
get that 10 G's back in the watch, but not on that flight where you're just like jerking off
you
everywhere.
know, the only thing I've heard that I liked about the watch was like about a Richard Mille. You know, it's like $200,000 watch. Was like, it shows how valuable my time is. I did like that saying, but
yeah.
I would still rather buy a fake one.
That is
but-
insane.
You know, I'm just not super materialistic, and I've always wanted a supercar. But I've every time I've had like the money to buy a Lamborghini or a McLaren or Ferrari or something, I'm like, I know I should buy a house with this or something, or put it into something.
Right.
But I totally get the other argument to it. It's like it also attracts like other shit and like opportunities,
Yeah.
and you know.
Well, it's
and all that.
also
So
monthly.
I
like
kind
you don't
of
have to.
balance it out, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on a supercar.
If you want one, I think you should definitely get one.
I will.
But-
eventually.
Well, so his answer was 20 million. Do you have a number?
I don't know, man. I think it depends on what you want. And what you want changes over time.
Just
I know
a nice,
for me.
comfortable life with friends.
So I like
20
to,
million, you could do
Well,
that.
but here's the thing. I like to break it down by a monthly thing because it's what are you using per month on a regular basis, right? Because you can go extravagant vacations, whatever, those are blips. But like, what do you need per month?
To
sustain
sustain your
that
lifestyle.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So is that 20 million? You live to 80? It's not that much money. It's a 20
Well,
million.
20 million you could still invest and
Right,
stuff.
yeah,
and
but-
you're gonna live off the interest. Like you can make $1 million a year on interest.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, like, always climbing that ladder. Just you're talking about, like, these false peaks.
I don't
like, you
think
get
I'll ever
over it and you're like,
stop
"Fuck."
just because that's who I am.
Right.
Not because I'm chasing like I
It's a
gotta get
personality
I
trait.
gotta get 50 million now. I gotta get 100 million. I'm
Right.
broke. Like I don't think
You
that.
just want more.
I think money is a tool, and it allows you to
Exactly.
like bring your visions to life easier.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
that's how I look at it. Like if I have money and I have this vision, like I want to do these violent hippie retreats, you know, and it's like, oh, well, I can, hire staff, I can cater this event, I can just make it happen. You know,
Yeah.
life becomes clay when you have money.
Yeah, that's
right?
a great way to put
And
it.
you can just like mold it to like, okay, I need this here, and like as a visionary, I don't have a problem with the vision.
Yeah.
Like funding is always the issue,
Right.
You know? And it's like because funding can allow anything to happen.
Yeah.
You know, like but I need a driveway installed right here. Boom. Okay, that's done. Okay,
Done.
now I need a building with some. I need like showers and some barracks over here. Done. Boom. You can
Yeah.
make that happen with money. You know,
Yeah.
and then that allows like more wealth to be created because like the things I want to create are also businesses.
Yeah, exactly. And I
and
think
that's fun to me.
Dude, totally.
It's
fun.
not about like I need to put more money in my pockets. It's
Right.
just this is fun, and I'm like getting to create and
But-
build my world.
but that's what I
Roller
think-
coaster tycoon.
Yeah.
But that's what I think the second stage is like once you get enough money where like you're comfortable, then you realize that it's not, money is not about the money once your needs are taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at money now as like my monthly, what do I need? And we don't even net $1 million. So, and we live okay, and we have a lot of write-offs. But I think for what we want to do is like my goals, I want to have maybe a $6 million house, not super big, but like comfortable
That's like
and
not
nice.
shit here in California.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. But I want that, and a handful of classic cars, and like maybe one exotic, and I'm pretty good with that. So I don't need a whole lot of money to do that. Like annual, maybe like 1 million, maybe 1.5 to cover that. But that's not the point, because I don't want to stop. I love the journey. So after my needs are met with that, I don't really want much more than that. Like maybe a jet, but I don't really want to fucking go anywhere. You know,
it's like,
just fly around.
I think where I fucked up too is not getting hiring a personal chef. You know, I think,
shit.
yeah, I fucked up by not doing that. And like when I had that kind of money,
Oh.
like, cause I was like,
see, I enjoy cooking
like
too much.
food is definitely nice for me. Like if I can eat good quality food every day and I don't have to think about it or concern,
yeah,
like that's really important. Like my health, I don't put a price on that. Like if I want to get a massage, if I want to get like dry needling, if I want to do, supplements, whatever, like things that keep my body healthy and feeling good. Like I think you could have $1 billion, but if you just
your health
feel
doesn't
terrible
matter,
and you're
right,
unhealthy, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So like you got to prioritize your health, and your food is a huge part of that. So like having like, and to me, that is my absolute fucking favorite thing to do, is to go out to a really delicious, nice restaurant with a bunch of people, order everything on
That's
the
the
fucking
shit.
menu that anyone
I can think
wants.
of nothing better. Bomb ass wine.
Like you're just having conversation and laughing and being served, and then the food is fucking bomb, and then it just is taken away. No one has to clean any dishes, and then Daddy's got the bill, and it's just like boom, ice cream truck, like, same feeling,
I love it.
And everybody
That's the best
like the food is like, there's only a few things in life that bring you like physical pleasure, right? Sex, massage, like food, drugs,
Working
like
out.
whatever. But those are like one of the, and that's one of the things that you can do as a group, enjoy, have, and it's like an experience,
It's communal.
It's a short experience,
It's also
it's for a
primal.
night, but and it's like connection, and
Absolutely.
like that's just my favorite fucking thing to do.
It's a Bourdain mentality of it. Just share good food with good people.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know you got to get to the next thing, but let's hit this story about assault.
Yeah, so Slim fucking. So I say like, oh, I'm not gonna assault my Slim. Well, I did assault Slim one time, but so I had you remember, like, do you ever see my metal business cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had these really fucking nice metal business cards, and they're like $5 a card or $6 a card or something like
cheap.
that, right? And so on the back it said like mindset is everything, and it had our website, and like on the front like all my info, whatever. And I got these things made, they were dope, gave them out, whatever, and then I was like, hey Slim, I need more business cards, just reorder them. So it's like, how do you fuck this up? It's just a reorder, and somehow he fucked this up. And I didn't even think about like to check, because it's just a reorder.
It's a reorder, yeah.
And for whatever reason, he sent in the file, and it said, he sent in the file, cards came. I get the cards, I don't check them, and I start handing them out. And I'm on live doing the Mitch show, and I had handed out a card to this lady and earlier in the day, and she had like jumped on the Mitch show, and on the Mitch show, there's like 70, 80 people on there, and she goes, "Oh, your business cards are spelled wrong." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And she goes, "It says mind debt is everything." And I was like, "What?" And I pulled out my cards on live with all these people watching. And I look at the fucking back of my card, and it says, mind debt is everything. He somehow deleted an S.
Wow.
And I was like, are you fucking serious? And I just printed like 500 of these. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And so on live right there, I was like, message Slim, right? I was like telling people, because everyone knows who Miami Slim is on Instagram, with my crew. And I'm like, message Slim. And
Get your
everybody's
gloves
like,
on.
yeah, everybody's like messaging him. And they're like, hey, Mitch wants you on live. Mitch wants you live. So Slim comes on live. And I'm like, Slim, did you order these fucking cards? Like, he's like, yeah, what's wrong? And I was like, how did you fuck this up? Because what do you mean? What's wrong? I show him, and I'm like, mind debt is everything. And he goes, huh? Yeah, I don't know. And I was like, Slim, I was like, you just embarrassed me in front of everybody on here. I can't let this slide. I was like, I'll see you tomorrow in the dojo. And he's like, I understand. So the next day, so everyone's like, oh shit. And I'm like, everyone, we're going live tomorrow at 2 p.m. And so we go live, and Slim, I got him in like headgear, and he's wearing like a chest rig and like shin guards and everything and boxing gloves. And I'm like, you have to do an accountability round with me. So we did a 5-minute accountability round, and I just beat the fuck out of him on live. And I was like, how do you spell mindset, Slim? M-I-N-D-S. I'm like kicking him and shit. It was like Sean Strickland to me.
He's got it tattooed on his forehead.
And then we posted afterwards, we posted a picture, and like I had mindset is everything like big on my mats on my walls, and like I was like pointing to the S, and it was pretty funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was all in good fun, but I was
that's
like,
how you know you got a strong culture, man.
I was like, this is an accountability round, you know. So then I was like, yeah, the other employees like, you fuck up, we're gonna spar.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for building a company around like how you are, because I went a little bit the other way, and like I did need to dial it back, and we have a totally different company. But I went the other way, and I'm still not a really good fit for our company. We
That's
definitely
why you're not the CEO.
Yeah, exactly. But honestly, that played into it. Like Disney's a much better CEO for the company, and that was partially how we solved that problem. Was we just removed me from that role, and it actually worked out way better for her. Worked out way better. For me and everybody.
Like luckily you're successful enough, and you have the money to be able to do that. Whereas like, yeah, if you didn't have that money or whatever, and you couldn't afford to do that,
Well,
or I guess you're still probably working there.
Yeah, we work together in the
people.
company.
Yeah.
As far as money, I think we pay her less salary than anybody.
Yeah.
But she rides horses, so we buy horses. So that's her salary is horses. And I pay myself in Chuck Taylors and cars.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are we wrapping up here?
I don't know.
You're back on the horn, Nick. Let's do this.
Here, Kyle, come jump in here last second. I've been talking about you. So
yeah, come on in and have a seat, man. You might have to get close to his lips and speak in the microphone.
Oh, yeah. So this is Kyle. This is the guy, the blue suit. And and he just launched his own business, Servium Industries, and
oh, cool.
It's like a faith-based Catholic kind of thing, Christian, that they sell electrolytes and T-shirts and hats and stuff like that.
Sweet. What's the Instagram?
Here you go.
Plug it in. Servium.industries.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, on Instagram. Yeah, Mitch encouraged me to do it, just like a lot of other things in life. Appreciate this guy. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. Just network, having conversations with the right people. It's saved my business many times over the years, and that's kind of what we want to do here, is just share the lessons learned of like life, business, fights. Just feels like entrepreneurship is getting punched in the face like every day, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard you dropped in the DMs and
Yeah, I think it's first week.
First week. It seems like this is a common thread.
Yeah, you kicked me in the face.
Can't do that in California, man. All right. Oh, well, let's get you. I want you to blast out your stuff where people can find you on Instagram, the domain names, because you got a lot of projects, so like the Adopt a Cop, whatever you want to shout out to. Where can people get a hold of you at?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me on Instagram at Mitch Aguiar, or Mitch_Aguiar, Aguiar. That's my main Instagram. My supplement company is Massive Supplements, MASF, Move and Stay Focused. That's what it stands for.
Oh, it's
now.
a new one. All right. I like
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
Used to stand for Mitch Aguiar, Smashin Frog, but we switched it to Move and Stay Focused. And so that's masfsupplements.com for our products. They're super amazing, like legit best high quality ingredients out there. And
So I've been drinking. It's good.
They taste phenomenal.
Go good with vodka too.
Absolutely. And then I got violenthippie.com is HIPPIE, Violent Hippie, be kind or else. And that's our like apparel company right now, and I've got a jiu-jitsu academy in Chesapeake, Virginia. And we sell gis, rash guards, t-shirts, stuff like that. And then I have a 501c3 charity, national charity called Adopt a Cop BJJ, and it's adoptacopbjj.org for that website, and we pay for police officers all around the country to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu until the rank of blue belt, in hopes of getting officers better equipped to deal with confrontations on the street, hands-on, less shootings.
Fucking genius.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Our motto with that is Jiu-Jitsu saves lives. So
do you guys sponsor police officer athletes at the moment by any chance?
right now we're like struggling because I like funded this thing myself. We haven't had any like corporate help or anything like that, so we just rely on like Instagram donations basically. And we're getting ready to raffle off 5 8-inch chef blades from Half Face Blades.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I bought 5 knives off of Andrew, and we're gonna donate them. We're in a raffle, so we'll do $25 a ticket for 1 or $100 for 5 tickets, and they're beautiful knives, and they have Half Face Blades on his logo on one side, and then Massive Supplements on the other side.
Cool.
Really cool. So we're gonna be doing that raffle here pretty soon.
Is that on your Instagram or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be on my Instagram. I'm gonna ask Andy to blast it out on his email and stuff, and we're gonna use all that money to pay for sponsorships and
cool.
So I did that like a couple years ago. I donated my personal. I had a chef set that Andy made me, and I donated that, and we raised $22,000.
Wow.
So
awesome.
hopefully we'll get like a good turnout from the raffle, and just keep these officers training.
It's awesome. It's a hard job, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thankless. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, dude. Oh, it's like, hey, do you want a job that's super dangerous? No one likes you,
Shitty
and you
pay.
have no support.
Yeah.
No, and you don't even get paid well.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, shocking.
I'd rather be a
Like that?
firefighter where everyone wants to fuck you.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And you're pulling cats out of trees.
Yeah, like they're both like public servants, but one gives tickets.
Yeah.
I know. Traffic cops, I think, are at the bottom barrel. I think that's kind of every time I see like a little ticket cop in the golf cart in San Diego, I'm just like to the both of them.
He was a cop for 10 years. He did SWAT and everything like that.
Hell
It's
yeah.
so funny because like he kind of looks the part too, and like people assume he's a SEAL all the time, and especially like working with me so closely and stuff. And his other like best friend is Dom Rasso.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like
Dom.
so he just constantly gets like, "Oh, are you a SEAL?" And he's just like, "Oh."
Dude, don't worry. I get that all the time here because like I'm the only Army guy that I know down here, and
At least you're a veteran.
my affiliation
didn't
with
even
all
serve.
of Naval Special Warfare, they're like, "Oh, what platoon were you in? What team were you in?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm an Army dude." And they're like, "The fuck? Why are you here?" Every time. So now, like,
do you get that? Like, do you ever experience like, if I was a SEAL, people would care so much more? 'Cause that's what he always says.
Maybe, probably, but now, like, I just know so many team dudes. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, but now I've learned to introduce myself, especially if we're doing like a paddle out
Not a
or
SEAL.
like memorial. No, I'm like, hey, I'm the Army faggot. And like I always introduce myself as an Army faggot, and then it like kind of brings down the tone. They're like, oh, cool. He doesn't take himself that like too seriously. But meanwhile, like,
I'll give you some water wings though.
well, but mainly when I go to Danny's and like after like a C4 paddle out, like Jocko's in there with like C3, and then you got the plethora of everybody, and then they're taking their shirts off, and then some guy brings
Where's
in
your
a
bone
raccoon.
frog, bro?
Yeah, no shit. Literally. And a lot of people even ask, like, why do you have a Bud's helmet up here? I'm like, it's fucking for the podcast. It's not mine.
Isn't that Tim's?
Yeah. Yeah, he brought it. And I was like, dude, don't bring this in this house. Army beats Navy.
That's funny. Yeah, well, like, and that's the other thing. It's like so many. He wasn't a veteran at all, you know.
Yeah.
So like we always give him shit. Like I'll be like, hey, let's go to the USO lounge. Oh, never mind. Like he's like, hey, I look the part. I'm gonna go to Applebee's on Veterans Day and get my free meal. Yeah. I always tell him, just say you're a team guy. Like yeah, Team Massive.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway,
Mitch, dude, absolute pleasure, man.
Yeah,
thank you so
thanks
much.
for having
Thanks
me.
for coming down, brother.
Yeah.
I personally learned a lot during this episode, and to be honest, dude, I don't know about you, but I think it's actually probably our best.
Well, that's why I got big personalities here.
Yeah, it's savage.
Main characters only.
Absolutely, main characters only.
Yeah. No, dude. Thanks so much for having me, man. It was awesome. Every time I love like linking up with Ryan. Like I've always kind of looked up to him, and as like sort of a mentor kind of friendship, whatever. Because like he was my SQT instructor, and like. So and I was a student, so there was kind of always like that hierarchy kind of respect with that.
And then when you get out, it all evens up.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and then I got out, and like he was already an entrepreneur too, and like he was good looking, fit, like into cars, like entrepreneurship. So it was like obviously I'm the same, but like it was like he was like ahead of me on that journey, like 10 years ahead of me on all these things. So I kind of like have always had that admiration and respect for him, and and like when I got out and I'm not like a student anymore, and now it's like now we're just like entrepreneurship peers, you know.
Yeah, totally.
And
you've surpassed me in a lot of ways, and I've learned so much from you as well, man. So I'm glad you came out here. It's really cool to catch up.
And it's been awesome, like our friendship over the years, and like every time we see each other, it's just like our faces hurt from smiling and laughing, and just telling stories and stuff, and and I love Disney as well. She's awesome, and just I wish the best for you guys always, and I hope you guys just continue to crush it, and super awesome meeting you as well. So
Likewise,
I had an awesome time, and look forward to more in the future, hopefully.
Likewise.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
For working together, and I love the circle. You are the sum of who you surround yourself by.
That's right.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Hell yeah.
Thanks.